I've filmed easily 100 events at this point, and I can tell you that the clients who are the happiest with the footage are the ones who've asked the right questions before hiring me. The people who go in with just price or look at a reel and think that it looks good, they're typically the ones who end up disappointed. So today, what I'm going to do is give you 10 questions that you should be asking before hiring anyone to come and film your next event, because the right questions will tell you everything you need to know about whether this person actually gets it. If you're new here, hello, my name is Ollie. I'm 5 years deep running a video production company specifically for events. I've worked with clients all over the UK, the US, Europe, UAE, so with all the social proof nonsense out the way, I promise there's going to be no hard pitches from me. My intention here is just to share as much knowledge and experience as I can, and if you want to work with me directly, I've made it pretty easy to get in touch. Now look, if you are about to hire somebody to come and film your event and you might not be sure what to ask them, then this is the video for you. By the end of this, you will have 10 questions that will tell you whether the person you're actually talking to is a good fit. So let's get into it. So before I get into these 10 questions just here, let me say that most people don't ask enough questions. They look at a reel, they see pretty footage, and they ask, what's your rate, right? But the reel doesn't really tell you how somebody handles problems. It doesn't tell you if they've done events like yours before, and it definitely doesn't tell you if they understand what you actually need them to capture. So the questions that you ask, that's what separates a good hire from a bad one. And honestly, if somebody gets defensive when you just ask simple questions, then I think that tells you everything that you need to know. First question, what is your backup plan if something goes wrong? And you have to be specific here. If their camera fails, what happens? If their memory card corrupts, what happens, right? If the audio cuts out mid-session, what happens? Because things go wrong at events. It's not a question of if, it is a question of when. So you need to know, does this person have redundancy systems in place? Are they running multiple cameras, multiple audio sources, multiple backup solutions, right? If their answer is that it's never happened to them before, then that's not a backup. It's kind of just relying on luck, and luck runs out. So you have to listen for specifics. You have to listen for systems. If they've got them, that's fantastic. If they don't, that's a red flag in my book. Second question, have you filmed events like mine before? And I don't just mean events in general, I mean events at this kind of scale, with this format, with these goals, because filming a 50-person corporate dinner is really different to filming a 2,000-person conference, right? Filming a panel discussion is different from filming a main keynote talk. Filming for social media is different from filming for internal communication. So you need to know, do they have experience with specifically what you're trying to do? And if they don't, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a deal breaker, but it means that you are taking a risk, and you should know that going into the process. My third question for you is, can I see full event coverage and not just your highlight reel? Because the highlight reel is cherry picked, right? It shows the best 5 minutes of a all-day event. It doesn't show you what they've actually captured. So ask to see a full deliverable from a similar event. Ask to see what the client actually got, because that will tell you way more than the highlight reel ever could. And if they can't show you that, or if they're being weird about showing you that, then that's probably something worth noting. Fourth question is, what happens after the event? Like, are they just going to give you all of the raw footage and you have to edit it by yourself? Are they going to help you turn it into usable assets, right? Are they going to help you turn it into future marketing content? Because there's a huge difference between somebody who just comes to film your event and somebody who actually helps you use what you filmed. So you need to clarify what you're getting. And if the answer is you just get the files, then make sure you have a plan for what you're going to do with the raw files, right? Because raw files on its own are not particularly useful. Fifth question, what is your turnaround time? Because events are time sensitive, right? You want to post content whilst people still remember the event. You need to get the footage out to sponsors whilst it's still fresh. So you have to ask, how long until the footage comes through? Days, weeks, months? And if the answer is vague, then you have to push for specifics, because being at the end of somebody's editing pipeline isn't good enough. You need to know what to expect so that you can plan all of your content around it. Sixth question here is, how many people are going to be on site filming? Because one person can only be in one place at a time. And if you've got multiple things happening, breakout sessions, networking areas, sponsor activations, innovation stages, all of this stuff, right? You need to know how many crew members you're bringing, and you need to know what each person is going to be responsible for. And if one person is covering a large scale event, I don't think it's going to cut it. Seventh question, really important, what do you need from me? This one's interesting because a good video crew will have a list. They will have a floor plan, they will need access, they will need badges, key people, brief, all of that sort of stuff. And if they don't ask for anything, then it's probably a bad sign, right? It means that they're just going to show up and wing it. So you need to listen for what they need from you. And if they are asking smart questions, then that's a great sign. 8th question here, what if I need changes or revisions? Because let's be real, you're going to get the video back and probably want to tweak things. And you're going to know that it isn't quite what you wanted, or you need something cut a little bit differently. You need an extra version for a different platform, right? Like, you have to ask if revisions are included, how many, what's the process, and get that in writing, because if it's not in the contract, it's not really guaranteed. 9th question, can I speak to your previous clients? Because you can ask someone all the right questions, right? They can respond with all the right answers, but the best way to know if somebody's good is to talk to somebody who's worked with them. So ask for a reference, right? Someone who's run a similar event, someone who can tell you what it actually was like to work with that person. And if they hesitate, or if they can't provide one, it's probably worth noting. And the 10th and final question here, what is your process? Walk me through it. From the initial call to final delivery, what are the next steps? What happens when? Who's responsible for what? Because a good video crew will have a solid process. They'll be able to tell you exactly why this works. And what that process will do is make you feel confident that they've done it in the past, that they have clear processes. And if they don't, it's a sign that they could be making it up. And that's really not what you want. Those are the 10 questions. And the thing is that good answers sound like confidence. They sound like experience. They sound like somebody who has thought all of this through. Bad answers are vague. They're defensive. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it, right? Trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. And don't be afraid to walk away. There are plenty of video people out there. Find one that makes you feel confident and not anxious. Look, hiring the right person to film your event is one of the most important decisions that you'll make, because if they get it wrong, you can't go back and redo this. So you have to ask the right questions. You have to ask the right questions, listen for the right answers, and only work with somebody that makes you feel like they've got it covered. Your event ultimately deserves the best coverage that you can afford. So if this was helpful, then subscribe. I post every single week on video, events, the stuff that no one's talking about, no fluff, just what's actually working for me. Feel free to check out the rest of the videos on the channel, and I will see you very soon. Take care.